और हर एक घर के महिला के खाते में 65,000 रुपए 65,000 रुपीज इज व्हाट ट्रांसफर वेरी डायरेक्ट। तो वी वांटेड टू इंटरप्ट द डेट साइकिल दैट ईयर। हुआ ये कि जब पैसे डिस्पर्स हो गए विद इन 3 months वी गॉट टू रियलाइज दैट 47 एडिशनल एकर्स ऑफ लैंड between 50 households got cultivated, which was a 50% increase in cultivation from last year. Most interestingly, 67% of the households after the end of year 1 reinvested in this money, the additional capital, because they did not have to repay debt. This money got reinvested at their end itself.
एंड अज्यूम कर रहा हूँ जैसे आप जितना इजीली समझा पा रहे हैं ग्राउंड पे चीज़ें इतना इजी नहीं है और good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We are back with another conversation today on the Social Sector podcast. And we have a special guest from Mumbai, Muzamil from Rojindi. Welcome, Muzamil.
Thanks for having me on, Nata.
इन पॉडकास्ट में हम बात करते हैं क्या फाउंडर्स कर रहे हैं, किस तरह से चेंज ला रहे हैं। तो आज हमारे साथ प्रोजेक्ट बीप में है। प्रोजेक्ट बीप डायरेक्ट कैश ट्रांसफर पे काम करता है। हम बात करेंगे कि ये कैसे काम कर रहा है, कैसे फैमिलीज को एक्सट्रीम पॉवर्टी से निकाल रहे हैं। और मुज़म्मिल बहुत यंग फाउंडर हैं क्योंकि इन्होंने 2017 में यूजी किया, 2019 में पीजी किया एंड देन उसके साथ 2-3 साल काम किया। सो दोज़ हू एस्पायर टू बी एन एंटरप्रेन्योर will also be having conversation around what is something that you can do when you aspire to start something. मुझे भाई हम स्टार्ट करते हैं प्रोजेक्ट बीप के बारे में। आप बताइए लीड डायरेक्ट ट्रांसफर कैसे काम करता है और आपको कैसे लगा कि इसका इकोसिस्टम में नीड है। हम हर जगह देख रहे हैं बहुत सारे नए-नए इश्यूज आ रहे हैं, डिफरेंट इनोवेटिव अप्रोचेस हैं एंड प्रोजेक्ट बीप इज़ वन ऑफ सच इनोवेटिव अप्रोच कि कैश ट्रांसफर के थ्रू कैसे हम एक्सट्रीम पॉवर्टी से डील करें। सो या
So, thanks for calling me young. The start of cash transfers for us happened जब Pankuri और मैं, the two co-founders of the organization, we were working in the social sector before I've been working with different NGOs. तो थोड़ा exposure मिला था कि social sector में काम कैसे होता है, NGO पे काम कैसे होता है, before we started this organization. Pankuri also had experience at Dasra, so she was also dealing with different NGOs and had worked in the sector. Both of us were friends and we got promoted in our respective organizations. तो जो extra पैसे रहते हैं promotion के सब हमें could donate करने थे, and globally there was a lot of conversation about cash transfers. There have been more than 300 research studies that this really works. इंडिया में कोई भी एनजीओ था नहीं जो कैश ट्रांसफर्स पे काम कर रहा। जब हमें हमारे खुद के पैसे डोनेट करने थे तो we couldn't find any NGO. So we thought we'll start this as a pet project on the side. We started talking to a few people about it. They got excited, we got excited, and this snowballed into us running an organization, which we are very happy with. ये काम कैसे करता है? पहले 2 साल में हमने काफ़ी फील्ड प्रोजेक्ट्स किए जो हम अभी भी कंटिन्यू करते हैं टू जनरेट एविडेंस स्पेसिफिकली एंड टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ दिस वर्क्स आवरसेल्व्स एज़ वेल। सो वी जनरली choose hamlets in tribal hamlets. Maharashtra and Rajasthan are the two geographies where we are working. इन geographies में एक tribal hamlet जब select हो जाता है basis the criteria that we have, opportunities and stressors that the communities might have, हम geographical saturation approach use करते हैं, जिसका मतलब कि सारे घर उस hamlet के इस प्रोग्राम का हिस्सा बन जाते हैं और हर एक घर के महिला के खाते में 65,000 रुपए 65,000 रुपीज इज व्हाट ट्रांसफर वेरी डायरेक्ट। We do a very comprehensive baseline survey before this. We announce the program by sharing case studies of how people have used this before to set a very developmental narrative. तो एक agency वाला narrative build करते हुए हम ये पैसे ट्रांसफर करते हैं and within 3 months we try to understand where people have invested this. And post 1 year of disbursement, we do an annual assessment to see how these investments have helped them to grow themselves and to get on a pathway that takes them out. That's how this works on the ground for us.
एक्साइटिंग। सो पिछले 3-4 साल से आप काम कर रहे हैं, सितंबर 2022 से। बहुत सारे आपने एग्जांपल्स देखे होंगे, बहुत सारा चेंज देखा ग्राउंड पे। इसको बेहतर समझने के लिए कोई एक स्टोरी आप हमें हमारे साथ शेयर कर सकते हैं कि कैसे आपने 65,000 ट्रांसफर करे एंड देन व्हाट चेंज दैट सपोर्ट ऑफ डायरेक्ट केस ट्रांसफर को उन फैमिलीज को हेल्प करता है।
So, मैं कुछ केस स्टडीज बताता हूँ। तो पिछले 2-3 साल में हमने पायलट्स किए हैं फार्मिंग कम्युनिटीज के साथ, माइग्रेंट कम्युनिटीज जिनका प्राइमरी सोर्स ऑफ इनकम माइग्रेशन के थ्रू आके वर्कड अक्रॉस asset vulnerable people with land and housing, people without land and housing. I'll give you a case study of the first pilot that we did. This was Krishnapur in Vatpa, Maharashtra. जब हमने 65,000 रुपए फार्मिंग कम्युनिटी को दिए, दिस वाज अ स्मॉल पायलट विद 50 households that did. We timed this just before the sowing season because we realized that is when the need of the money is the highest. तो debt तभी सबसे ज़्यादा ब्याज जाता है, तो we wanted to interrupt the debt cycle that year. हुआ ये कि जब पैसे डिस्पर्स हो गए, within 3 months we got to realize that 47 additional acres of land between 50 households got cultivated, which was a 50% increase in cultivation from last year. जो latent potential already था, जो utilize नहीं हो पा रहा था because of lack of cash, that got utilized. That was first trigger. Because of that trigger, 35, 36 men movement of that same community got employed, and communities nearby on this additional land it got cultivated as agri-labor. So they did not have to migrate far away; they could work there. Now, employment plus additional acreage of land resulted in a 22% increase in incomes of household income from 75,000 rupees annual income to 96,000 rupees annual income. This jumped within the first year. Using this annual income, 50% of the households built their houses. 26% households improved standard of living by purchasing simple chairs, tube lights, motorbikes, smartphones, anything that they needed in the household. Most interestingly, 67% of the households, after the end of year one, reinvested in this money, the additional capital, because they did not have to repay debt. This money got reinvested at their end itself. So we see this as a positive cycle now that gets generated for households. With migrant households also, the story was similar. With migrant households in Rajasthan, we did the average monthly income is 6,000, जिसमें से 2,000 रुपए डेट रिपेमेंट में चला जाता है बिकॉज दे डोंट हैव एक्सेस टू लंप सम कैश ट्रांसफर. डेली वेज इज द इनकम सोर्स, तो वो रूटीन कंजम्पशन में खर्चा हो जाता है. सो एनीथिंग बिगर दैट द परचेज कम्स फ्रॉम. So this lump sum really helped them to do their bigger expenses. जैसे घर बना लेना, आज की वजह से migration cycles improve हो जाते हैं. They can migrate further for a longer time because the families are safe. But a lot of land got tilled. Boulders जो बड़े-बड़े hill areas में होते हैं वो निकाले गए. So a lot of land level water resources like well and others got installed. These were very long-term assets that they were able to build, which helps them to increase their income cycles in the coming agrarian periods. These were a few examples that we saw.
राइट। और इंटरेस्टिंग है कि एक छोटा-सा पोर्ट कैश ट्रांसफ़र का, डायरेक्ट कैश ट्रांसफ़र का, एंड देन वो साइकिल बन रहा है कि रिस्क एपेटाइट बेटर हो गया, नेक्स्ट ईयर उनको फिर से जो पैसा कमाया उसी से इनकम बढ़ रहा है, लाइफ़स्टाइल बेटर हो रहा है, बच्चा अच्छा स्कूल जा पा रहा होगा, बहुत सारी इनसाइट्स हैं। मुझे भी एक जनरली लोगों का मिसकंसेप्शन ये भी है कि आज जब एनबीएफसीज़ हैं, बैंक्स हैं, सरकार इतना फैसिलिटी कर रहा है, या फिर जैसे सरकार ने कुछ पॉलिसीज़ भी हैं जो स्मॉल से डायरेक्ट कैश ट्रांसफर फार्मर्स को कर रहा है, अराउंड 6,000 या 12,000 समथिंग। आप उनके बियॉन्ड आप जब ये काम कर रहे थे, आई एम श्योर ये सारे मिसकंसेप्शन जो हमारे रहते हैं, आपको कैसे लगा कि this will change a system far better, far faster than any of the existing ecosystem, चाहे वो बैंक हो, चाहे एनबीएफसी हो, and assuming that एनबीएफसी बैंक्स रिस्क के साथ आ रहे हैं, they don't care about if you failed, if you failed की फार्म में जो आपने कल्टीवेट किया था वो हुआ ही नहीं, या ड्रॉप हो गया। महाराष्ट्र में और राजस्थान में ये बहुत बड़ा प्रॉब्लम भी है। सो आप लोग उसको कैसे देखते हैं?
ग्रेट क्वेश्चन. तो वही कृष्णापुर की बात करता, जो 50 हाउस थे उसमें से 25 वर लैंडलेस फार्मर्स एंड द रेस्ट 25 हैड देयर ओन लैंड. तो वो जो 25 फार्मर्स थे उसमें से 8 फार्मर्स फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम टुक लैंड ऑन रेंट बिकॉज देयर वाज लैंड अवेलेबल अराउंड देम. Now this has never happened before with the microfinance capital or any other form of capital because it comes with risk. कि अगर मैंने लैंड रेंट पे लिया और अगर पीस सेट नहीं हो पाई की वजह से, एचएसपीटी की वजह से, वो डेट रीपे करना is very difficult or debt traps create हो जाते हैं. That is the role that unrestricted or direct cash transfer, which is unconditional in nature, which you don't have to repay, allows those aspirations to flourish in these communities. That is a key difference between a microfinance capital and a direct cash transfer. How we as an organization also see this in the ecosystem, that there is a graduation approach with ultra poor, which is targeted for ultra poor, which covers a holistic, has a little bit of cash transfer, does asset ownership, asset transfer, it has coaching, it has livelihood training, multiple things that are needed to pull people out of it. And then there's microfinance. In between the two, direct cash transfers fits really well. We know that microfinance works well with people who have a stable source of income or at least a surplus in their monthly balance. That अगर income मान लो 10,000 है, expense 8,000 है, 2,000 extra income है, वो लोग microfinance के लिए eligible भी होते हैं, हो पाते हैं और उनके लिए further expanding their livelihood sources or revenue streams or expanding their small kirana stores really helps. People who don't have this, yes, people who are still struggling to create stable source of income, really direct cash transfers uplifts them to the next step. So there is an entire capital continuum piece that we have built out that says that graduation approach can push people towards cash transfer and then that can further take them towards returnable grants and then later on micro, which is which is stables in different sources of capital at different time periods and different needs of the.
एक अज्यूम कर रहा हूँ जैसे आप जितना इजीली समझा पा रहे हैं ग्राउंड पे चीज़ें इतना इजी नहीं है और those who are watching this podcast today, these are young folks or people who want to transition to social sector or want to get it. आप अगर किसी को करियर एक्सप्लोर करना है प्रोजेक्ट पीक के साथ, आप महाराष्ट्र राजस्थान में जिस तरह का काम करते हैं, किस तरह के रोल्स आप इंटरनली रहते हैं, किस तरह के रूल्स आप रखते हैं, किस तरह के लोग आप ढूंढते रहते हैं अगर किसी को आपके साथ काम करना हो?
We have three departments, so three main verticals in the organization. So first couple of years we did a lot of field work, and then as we saw that governments, like you mentioned, are doing cash transfers. So 15 to 18 states have adopted large scale cash transfer programs. So that became our scale pathway also to take that programs to policy and try to impact larger number of people once. So that is the time when we created these three verticals. So the first one is that continues to be a community vertical where we do these pilots and understand community insights at ground level insights. The second is a research vertical where we look at global evidence, where we look at public policy analysis and create knowledge products specifically for policy. So यहाँ पे हम people from economics background, public policy professionals, or people who are very, very interested in research, secondary research mainly, can understand, is interested in reading a lot of academic research papers, finding insights from them and making sense of it for our ecosystem who has implementation experience with it or is interested to work with communities directly. And then there is a third vertical, which is our policy engagement vertical, जहाँ पे we partner with state governments right now and support bureaucrats and policymakers in their aspirations of creating more impactful and intentional cash-based policies. People who are interested in working with bureaucrats in government offices and implementing things at a larger level or working with the systems are the kind of people that we look for. The key skill sets there is stakeholder relationship management. Again, research is the base skill set required along with stakeholder relationship.
Hey, and some of these roles are remote hybrid as well, right? Apart from the field role.
So field is also a remote role when you have to go on field, which is 2-3 months a year. That is when you go on field. The rest of the time it is a remote. Research is also a remote role. Just an on-site role is the people who work with government offices because then those people work out of whichever department they work out those offices 5 days a week.
Right, right. And while we were working on some of the mandates with Project Event, we also realized that the pay scales are also far better than the average benchmarking. So maybe would love to know how do you look at the salaries from say associate and then maybe the career trajectory. If you can just give us a sense of the salaries those who are watching, so will help them.
Sure. So it's a small team. It's a 15, 16 people team right now. Given that it's a small team and we're working with state governments, we really wanted to create people who can do the work that is needed. And because it's not a large team, we're looking for higher potential people. And that's the reason for keeping salary benchmarks up to the industry standards so that we're able to pull it through output organizations for experiences. That's the base. The associate level is around 10 to 12 lakhs from managers, goes from 12 to 20, then associate further goes 20 to 30, which is an associate uh, director role, and then directors are above 30 or 45, 40 to 45 hours.
Great, Muzamil. So those who want to get into career or want to explore career with Project Leap, or in general in the social sector? You have worked in this sector, and then last 4 year you have been also leading Project Leap along with Pankuri. What is something that as a job seeker, those who want to transition or those who want to get into social sector, they should be mindful, or maybe they should keep this in mind when they start exploring career? If you need to give a one advice.
What I learned personally working in space is put enough bold aspirations and bold ambitions, because there's a lot of potential to create impact. At the same time, have a fine balance of being humble with the expectations of impact that we, as an individual or as an organization, it takes an ecosystem, and system change work is slow usually. So a lot of young people that we work with, I see a lot of aspirations and ambitions. Patience is also a key requirement as a temperament while we work in this space.
The On the other side, you worked for some time and then founded Project Deep with Pankuri. Pankuri started working earlier. I'm sure you both might have this conversation like, what if we have started that time? Or you might have some discussions around what is the right time to start something. So, if you need to give one advice to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to start a social enterprise, social impact focused organization, if you need to share your experience or one advice with them.
For us, we really felt passionately about this cause, and there was nothing else that made sense for us to be doing at that point of time. That's how the decision of lead this was me. What I would say is there's no right time as such. Start with the smallest experiment that is possible to do in the space that you want to operate. Get your hands dirty as soon as possible. For us, the starting point for doing this work was before the Krishnapur pilot, which required us to raise 32 lakhs. We just withdrew 10,000 from an ATM and went nearby slum area in Mumbai and started handing out 1,000 keys, 10 different individuals to understand how this space works. This was a really small prototype that allowed us to improve our design of the cash transfer to do slightly bigger pilots. So there's no right time, but getting your hands dirty as possible and learning about the space really adds. Giving that 10,000 rupees to people and looking at their reaction and understanding what impact does this small amount create in their lives was great motivation to carry on and continue doing this. So it's the only thing I look.
Very, very much exciting stuff and inspiring stuff Muzamil, you and the project team is doing. I can assume there's a very so much compliance around project and in the direct cash transfer, and then also asking for grants in such sort of model, which is very unique and due to the ecosystem. We'll be having another sort of conversation with Mozambique soon. And until then, if you have any questions around Project B or how we work, we'll be adding Muzamil's email ID and the LinkedIn ID. So feel free to write to them. Explore Career will also be adding their career page in the description. They keep on looking for young, talented people to work with them. And we'll be back with another series of conversation sometime next week. Until then, thank you. Thank you so much, Mazanul, for joining us today for this amazing conversation. We really like watching you.
Thank you so much, Mala, for inviting me, and always happy to have exploratory conversations with all sorts of folks. Thanks for showing interest in what
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you soon.